Hi everyone, it's Fiona Edgar here from FionaEdgar.com, and today I'm going to be talking about Jupiter's transit through the sign of Capricorn. So Jupiter changes signs today uh, from Sagittarius to Capricorn, and it's going to remain there for a year. So this is a pretty big event because Jupiter changes signs once a year. And every 12 years, you'll go through your Jupiter return. So, Jupiter has spent the last year in the fire sign of Sagittarius, which is its home sign. Jupiter is known as the Great Benefic, and it helps us to see faith and optimism and to see the bigger picture. So, switching over to the Earth sign of Capricorn, it is going to be in its detriment. But all that means is that we will have to work a little bit harder to reap its benefits. Hard work is going to reward us with financial good fortune and stability. Capricorn is a sign of great responsibility, and during this period, we are going to have to learn how to be responsible for ourselves, especially in the area of finances and business, your work, your employment. So we're kind of getting an opportunity to create a good future for ourselves. You will have to learn to take responsibility, as I said. So if you're the type of person that has been overly reliant upon other people's money, money from the government, money from your ex-partner, etc., some of that may be taken away from you, and you have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet. Capricorn is one of the cardinal signs, which means that it's really good at initiating new projects. Capricorn is really good for business and for thinking of ideas and new projects, which will help us to live a better life. So, Jupiter in Capricorn will help us to see the bigger picture and to build concrete steps to create a stable future for ourselves. So maybe over the next year we start to make concrete plans about how to ensure that we have money to live on when we get older. Maybe we decide to start a business to ensure the future of our children's. Capricorn is a cautious sign, and it's definitely not afraid of hard work. So we may make these plans or come up with these ideas, but we will go over them with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that we are able to proceed with those. Jupiter does tend to amplify the sign that it's in, so it's going to expose where we lack structure. It will expose anything negative that's going on. It will blow it up. So if you're dealing with financial issues now, it may get worse unless you kind of restructure your life and fix the things that aren't working for you. So Capricorn is really being highlighted over the next few years because we already have the planets Pluto and Saturn transiting there. Capricorn can make us feel more fearful. So if we learn how to face our fears, we will be rewarded for that. What we're seeing is a massive restructure of power throughout the world. So these next couple of years are going to be remembered for hundreds of years to come. This life that we're living now, they're going to talk about it in the history books. We may see a return to more traditional values. That is something that Capricorn is associated with, is traditional values. How did our ancestors do things? What were their morals? What were their values? Those may come up again because I don't know about you, but I look around the world right now and I just see a lack of morals and a lack of values. Also, what feels oppressive to you? Where do you feel where you're being oppressed right now? Because that's going to get amplified over the next year. Where are you being controlled? So There are a lot of things that are going to happen over the next year, especially the next 2 years. So what I'm going to do is try to break it down a little bit on a more personal level. I'm going to go through each of the 12 signs. So listen to your rising sign. If you're Scorpio rising, listen to Scorpio, and also listen to your sun sign. That's going to give you a good idea about what you're going to be dealing with and where you really need to put in that hard work to get the results that you need. So first of all, I'm going to talk about Aries rising. This conjunction, it is going to be a triple conjunction. As you can see, we're going to have Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter all in the sign of Capricorn. There is going to be an exact conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in January. Jupiter is still going to be in Capricorn, so technically they are conjunct, but it's not going to be exact, okay? If you have 2 or more planets in one sign, that is a conjunction. So I'm not going to get into the exact details, but yes, if Saturn and Pluto are conjunct at 22 degrees, so that's considered exact. Jupiter is going to be at 9 degrees, which is a little bit further away, but still conjunct, okay? So, Aries rising, this conjunction falls into your 10th house. The 10th house rules over our career. So, if you've been in a career recently or for years, that may be taken away from you. You may find yourself having to get a new job, or your job feels too oppressive. Aries people need to do their own thing. They need to be in charge of their own lives. So maybe you've been working in a job now and you start to feel oppressed. A good way to work with this energy would be to become self-employed. So most of your changes are going to be focusing on career, Aries. However, the 10th house is also associated with fatherhood. Maybe you become a father during this time, or you start to have some kind of issues with your own father. So Taurus and Taurus rising, Jupiter in Capricorn is going to transit through your 9th house. This house is associated with travel, with higher education, like university learning. You may decide to go to university. You may decide to learn a new skill. You may decide to start to study some kind of spiritual topic like astrology, or you suddenly find that your spiritual beliefs change. You may have a crisis of beliefs. The 9th house also rules over legal issues, so you may find yourself either in legal issues or else they're resolved. You may start a new life by moving. You may move to a foreign country because you start to feel that life in your own country is too oppressive, so you may leave the control system that you're under at the moment. So Gemini Sun and Gemini Rising, Jupiter in Capricorn will be transiting through your 8th house. This is a very intense house. It rules over death and rebirth, inheritance, joint finances. You may be struggling with money at the moment. Your partner may be struggling with money. Whatever is going on in the 8th house is also affecting your partner. So any kind of emotional issues that your partner has been experiencing, there may be a resolution to those, or they may suddenly come up again. These descriptions are going to be pretty general, as it only really applies to your rising sign and your sun sign. If you did want to get a complete picture about how this transit is going to affect you, you can book a private reading with me. So Gemini, yeah, there's going to be a restructuring of your finances and your partner's finances. And you're going to learn how to release fears. Also, you need to look at where you have been resisting change and transformation, Gemini. That's going to be something really big for you. So if you've been clinging on to these relationships or even outdated thought patterns or behaviors, you will have to address those at some point during this transit. If you do the work now, it's going to be a lot easier, trust me. So Cancer Sun and Cancer Rising, this Jupiter in Capricorn is going to be transiting through your 7th house. This is the house of relationships and marriage. Your marriage is going to be transformed on some level. These are just some possibilities. You may get a divorce. Your marriage may transform and become really good. You may resolve issues that have been dogging your relationship for maybe a couple of years. Putting in the hard work is really going to make the difference here. So your partner's issues are going to affect you, obviously, as well. You may decide to purge toxic relationships. So yeah, everything partnership related is going to be affected by this Jupiter transit for you, Cancer. On to Leo. Leo Sun and Leo Rising. This transit is going to your 6th house. So Jupiter tends to blow up things. You know, it can expand things and also blow them out of proportion. It is a benefic, but sometimes we can have too much of a good thing. So Leo and Leo Rising, this transit is really going to affect your health and your daily routine. When Jupiter was transiting through my 6th house, I actually got quite a lot of health issues. Because I wasn't looking after myself. I was being very careless about my diet. A lot of stress was affecting me. So if you really start to work on your health now, Leo, clean up your diet, stop drinking, stop smoking, try and keep the stress levels down, you're looking at a transformation. In Capricorn, it may affect your bones and your teeth. So look after your teeth, start taking magnesium for your bones, do some weight-bearing exercise, go to the dentist. Just take that little bit of extra care that you need. Your daily routine may start to feel oppressive to you. Maybe you've been working a 9-to-5 job for the last 20 years. All of a sudden, you get really bored of that. You're tired of your boss controlling everything that you do. So you decide to get a new job or become self-employed. Virgo. This transit is going to affect your 5th house, the house of children, of play, fun, creativity, hobbies. You may have issues with your children that come to a head during this year, or they may be resolved. So if you have kids with an ex that you don't get along with, your ex is maybe going to try and interfere with your daily routine. Remember, because Pluto is in Capricorn, it also rules over control systems. So if your ex is controlling you or using your kids against you in some way, that may come to a head this year, or that pressure is relieved in some way and you're finally given some freedom there. Libra and Libra rising, this Jupiter in Capricorn will be going through your 4th house of home and family. You may feel the need to suddenly lay down roots and create a solid base for yourself. People that have too much control about where you live, maybe your family owns your home, maybe you rent a home and your landlord isn't doing all of the things that you need. You may decide to just get up and leave, or you may decide to buy a home. Those are all possibilities. Scorpio. This is going to fall into your 3rd house. The 3rd house rules over siblings. Maybe you have a family feud with your siblings that gets resolved this year, or it comes to a head. Maybe one is started. Your communication is going to be affected by this transit. Maybe you decide that you will start to write a book or make YouTube videos. Capricorn is a really karmic sign. I know that everything is karmic, but Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, who is known as the Lord of Karma. So you may see that your siblings have some karmic backlash this year, or some kind of circumstances forces you to forge a relationship with them. Sagittarius and Sag rising, this is going to fall into your second house of personal resources, so money that you earn yourself. You may notice a change in your income. Maybe you feel like you're not being rewarded sufficiently for your work and you decide to get a new job. You could add on an extra job or maybe decide to become self-employed. Capricorn is very self-sufficient. It's known as the father of the zodiac. So wherever that falls in your chart is where you need to become the father and, control everything and not relinquish that control to anyone else. So if you have been having weird power struggles with your bosses about getting a raise, yeah, you may just decide to leave this year. Or if you've been slacking in the area of finances, Sag, the universe is going to make you step up this year. Capricorn, this is the big one for you. Wow, Capricorns have been getting a bit of a rough ride for the past few years with Pluto there and Saturn transiting through your sign. But my goodness, are you transforming? If you're resisting this change, it's going to be really difficult. So just let go and try and go with the flow. So Capricorn, letting go of any responsibility that is not yours, okay? That's a big one. Where do you feel responsible? Do you feel responsible for yourself, or are you taking on responsibilities for relatives or your wife, where really they should be doing it themselves? I mean, I know Capricorn quite well, and they take on so many burdens and so much work that they become, eventually it can manifest in their body as physical health issues to do with the bones or your back. Another possibility with these 3 planets in your first house is that you may dramatically change your appearance. Capricorn is quite a conservative sign, so I don't know if it's going to be a massive difference, but maybe you decide to lose a lot of weight. On to Aquarius. Aquarius, this is happening in your 12th house. So the 12th house is known as the place of solitude. It's where we feel closest to the gods and the afterlife. It is also associated with hospitals, prisons, isolation. So this year you are going to be feeling that on an intense level. Maybe you feel that you've become isolated in some way because you don't connect with the people anymore that you grew up with. Maybe it's a sort of comfortable type of isolation for you, where you're spending a lot of time on your own because you're working on spiritual growth. You're learning different forms of spirituality. So you may be letting go of a lot of karma at the moment, Aquarius. So if difficult things are happening to you, it is best to just try and go along with that. Pisces, this is happening in your 11th house. The 11th house is associated with friendships, groups, organizations. It's where our hopes and dreams are to be found in the birth chart. You may be letting go of any oppressive friendships this year. You may leave an organization, you may leave a group, or you may decide to start up your own organization or group. You'll be letting go of anyone that is trying to oppress you or have control over you. So that's pretty much how Jupiter and Capricorn is going to affect the signs individually. And like I said, those are quite general descriptions. I mean, if Capricorn is going to fall in your 8th house, but it makes a square to all of these planets that you have in Libra, that's really going to change the energy for you. So look up your chart. There are lots of free websites out there where you can cast your chart. If you're new to astrology, you can book a reading with me. So this year we are experiencing a triple conjunction in Capricorn. because we have Saturn and Pluto and Jupiter all conjunct. So, look, guys, this is a big one, okay? Uh, I don't like to talk about negative things, but we live in a world where everything is made up of both negative energies and positive. I don't think it really does anyone any good to just focus on the good things. Part of these planets transiting through Capricorn is going to be about facing our shadows, because Saturn is the planet of karma. If you're living your life in a way where you're blind to your own faults and they're consistently stopping you from growing, these planets and the rest of the universe is going to lay down the karmic smackdown on you this year. So I can't stress enough how important it is for you to do your work. No one else is going to do it for you, okay? This is definitely an individual type of thing. So on January 12th, 2020, Saturn and Pluto are going to be conjunct. This is huge, okay? Uh, this is such a big thing. This is going to cause a lot of fear. Whatever is going to happen in January is going to make us feel fearful. So we may be fearful of the government, of terrorists, of anyone that has control and authority over us. I don't know about you guys, but the level of control that the government has over us is staggering. And it actually makes me feel very fearful. They are freedom, like the word freedom, it used to be tossed around so much, like 10, 20 years ago. And now no one seems to care about freedom. Everyone seems to be so willing to sign away their rights. And it's terrifying. I mean, look at the vote that the people of the UK cast to leave the European Union. So lots of people were for it, lots of people were against it, but like we still haven't left. It is 3 years, and this is meant to be a democratic society. Where is the democracy in that? But not only that, we have parties, political parties at the moment that are saying, if you get us in power, we won't leave the European Union. And there are people voting for them. That literally terrifies me. These people do not care about democracy. If I were you, even if you wanted us to stay as part of the European Union, I would be very scared about that. That the people around you are so willing to just forget about democracy because it's something that they don't want. So a conjunction is when two or more planets are in the same sign at similar degrees. It doesn't have to be an exact degree, okay? When some planets are in the same sign, even if one is at 9 and the other one is at 22, it is still a conjunction. I don't care what other astrologers say, this is the method that I use, and it works for me. So the last triple conjunction that we had in Capricorn birthed the ancient city and civilization of Babylon. Just to give you an idea of how big this thing actually is. Whatever it is that's going on now the effects are going to last for hundreds of years. Any babies that are born during this time are destined for very great things. So babies that are born in the next year, they're going to really help us, like in 30 or 20 or 30 years time, especially when they go through their Saturn return. They are going to really help us to reform and restructure our society as it is now. Great things may rise from the destruction of existing regimes. That is a really big thing. This conjunction is it really represents a political and economic restructuring of the order throughout the world. There is going to be a rebalancing of power. So that is good, but there may be a few bumps on the road to get there. China is going to be a major player here, so keep a lookout for them. The US is also coming up to its Pluto return. So the US is gonna experience massive changes um, over over the next couple of years. The worst case, now this is the worst case. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, okay? Because astrology is not and should never be treated as fortune telling. No one can say exactly what is going to happen, and nor should they claim to know. But in late 2020, we actually have Mars retrograde in Aries, and that's going to make a kind of violent square aspect to all of the Capricorn planets. We could be looking at very violent uprisings throughout the world. Um, Over the next year, things are going to be a little bit hectic. If I were you, I would definitely prepare for any kind of event like an earthquake. Don't forget, this triple conjunction is happening in earth signs, so we may be noticing events around the world to do with changes in the earth, earthquakes, and things like that. So prepare yourself for something like that. It doesn't mean I don't think that anyone is being like crazy or weird if they have a few supplies in their basement or in their attic, just in case things go wrong and there are issues with the food supply. If you're a diabetic, make sure you have a store of insulin. If you're really reliant on a medication, make sure you have some spare ones, okay? This is all about being sensible. Remember, Capricorn is a very sensible sign. We need to prepare for the worst. That doesn't mean that the worst is going to happen, but it gives us peace of mind as well. So when Jupiter will conjunct Saturn at 0 degrees of Aquarius on the 21st of December 2020. So that's on the winter solstice. So there's going to be something really big that happens during this year, and then by the end of the year, where it's going to come to a head. We're going to see the results of that. Sorry to be such a geek, but it really reminds me of the new Imperial Order in Star Wars, which started after the Galactic Civil Wars. That's the kind of energy that I'm feeling. So there's going to be a new world order. What way is that going to manifest? Is that going to be a new world order in a positive sense? Are we going to have more freedom? Or are we going to go into the dark ages again, where the government are literally controlling everything that we do, and it's going to be like 1984? We have to look around and use our discernment and see who is our enemy. Is it Trump? All I ever hear is people talking about Trump. They're totally ignoring what's going on in every other country. They're ignoring the work that they have to do themselves internally. If you want to live in a utopia, you have to start with yourself first, okay? It is not going to happen if you continue to ignore your own shortcomings and the issues that you have within your family or your friends or the immediate area that you live in. So Trump, love him or loathe him, listen, there are other people in the world that need to be looked at as well. So that's all I'm saying about that. Who is the enemy? Yes, we see all of this. Aquarius is a sign that is associated with humanitarianism and equality. So where are we lacking equality right now? Okay, is it, there are a lot of people that have been oppressed for many years, okay? I understand that. Anyone that is gay has been through such a horrible time. This is going on for probably thousands of years now. Also, if you live in a country where you're a minority, yes, of course it's going to be more difficult. But the wrong way to deal with this is to oppress other people, okay? So oppressing white people and blaming white people for everything is not going to help. We're getting trapped in that horrible energy where you're really blaming whole groups of people for events. That is the wrong way to do things, guys. That energy is just so outdated now. We need to be moving beyond that. So over the next year, just to sum it up, yes, we will be getting the karmic smackdown from from Saturn, and from Pluto. There may be some pretty bad events that happen throughout the world, but you need to take a good look at yourself. What are you doing? How are you living your life? Are you a spiritual person? I see all of these politicians that are running for presidency or running in local elections. None of them talk about spirituality at all. They just point their fingers at other people, they blame other people. I will cast my vote for someone that openly talks about spirituality. So far, I have not seen anyone yet that has done that, or if they have, they haven't got any press. So I think that we do have to go through these transits for this restructuring of power and rebalancing of power. But please keep your eyes open, okay? It is not okay to start repressing an entire race of people and blaming them for everything that has gone wrong in the world. That is a really bad idea. And if we do that, we're never going to evolve. So, yeah, I hope that was helpful, guys. I'm sorry that some of that was negative, but I'm not an astrologer that thinks that everything that goes on in the world is unicorns and white light. I would love if it was, but we live on a very difficult planet at the minute. The world is crying out for healing. The way that we treat animals, the way that we treat each other, the way we treat the oceans, the forests, that all has to change, okay? But we still have to be aware that there are people out there that will use those problems as an excuse. They will use those problems to gain power when in fact they are actually really bad and they shouldn't be made president and they shouldn't be given any positions of power. So use your intuition. Okay, so that's all about Jupiter and Capricorn and what's coming up. I hope you enjoyed this. Please check out my website, www.fionaedgar.com. That's AEDGAR. I offer private readings. I've also just written a couple of astrology courses from beginner's level to advanced level. If you would like to learn the art of astrology but you don't know where to start, please check it out. And guys, please share this video, like it, subscribe to my channel because I do intend on making a lot more. Okay, take care and I will be back again soon with another video.